You've successfully joined the webcast. Our program will begin shortly. If you're presenting today and joining this meeting on Zoom, please note that all Zoom attendees are muted when entering, and you'll need to unmute yourself when it's your turn to speak. For voice-only callers, please unmute your phone as well as pressing *6 to unmute your mic on Zoom before speaking. You've successfully joined the webcast. Our program will begin shortly. If you're presenting today and joining this meeting on Zoom, please note that all Zoom attendees are muted when entering, and you'll need to unmute yourself when it's your turn to speak. For voice-only callers, please unmute your phone as well as pressing *6 to unmute your mic on Zoom before speaking. You've successfully joined the webcast. Our program will begin shortly. If you're presenting today and joining this meeting on Zoom, please note that all Zoom attendees are muted when entering, and you'll need to unmute yourself when it's your turn to speak. For voice-only callers, please unmute your phone as well as pressing *6 to unmute your mic on Zoom before speaking. You've successfully joined the webcast. Our program will begin shortly. If you're presenting today and joining this meeting on Zoom, please note that all Zoom attendees are muted when entering, and you'll need to unmute yourself when it's your turn to speak. For voice-only callers, please unmute your phone as well as pressing *6 to unmute your mic on Zoom before speaking. You've successfully joined the webcast. Our program will begin shortly. If you're presenting today and joining this meeting on Zoom, please note that all Zoom attendees are muted when entering, and you'll need to unmute yourself when it's your turn to speak. For voice-only callers, please unmute your phone as well as pressing *6 to unmute your mic on Zoom before speaking. You've successfully joined the webcast. Our program will begin shortly. If you're presenting today and joining this meeting on Zoom, please note that all Zoom attendees are muted when entering, and you'll need to unmute yourself when it's your turn to speak. For voice-only callers, please unmute your phone as well as pressing *6 to unmute your mic on Zoom before speaking. You've successfully joined the webcast. Our program will begin shortly. If you're presenting today and joining this meeting on Zoom, please note that all Zoom attendees are muted when entering, and you'll need to unmute yourself when it's your turn to speak. For voice-only callers, please unmute your phone as well as pressing *6 to unmute your mic on Zoom before speaking. You've successfully joined the webcast. Our program will begin shortly. If you're presenting today and joining this meeting on Zoom, please note that all Zoom attendees are muted when entering, and you'll need to unmute yourself when it's your turn to speak. For voice-only callers, please unmute your phone as well as pressing *6 to unmute your mic on Zoom before speaking. You've successfully joined the webcast. Our program will begin shortly. If you're presenting today and joining this meeting on Zoom, please note that all Zoom attendees are muted when entering, and you'll need to unmute yourself when it's your turn to speak. For voice-only callers, please unmute your phone as well as pressing *6 to unmute your mic on Zoom before speaking. You've successfully joined the webcast. Our program will begin shortly. If you're presenting today and joining this meeting on Zoom, please note that all Zoom attendees are muted when entering, and you'll need to unmute yourself when it's your turn to speak. For voice-only callers, please unmute your phone as well as pressing *6 to unmute your mic on Zoom before speaking. You've successfully joined the webcast. Our program will begin shortly. If you're presenting today and joining this meeting on Zoom, please note that all Zoom attendees are muted when entering, and you'll need to unmute yourself when it's your turn to speak. For voice-only callers, please unmute your phone as well as pressing *6 to unmute your mic on Zoom before speaking. You've successfully joined the webcast. Our program will begin shortly. If you're presenting today and joining this meeting on Zoom, please note that all Zoom attendees are muted when entering, and you'll need to unmute yourself when it's your turn to speak. For voice-only callers, please unmute your phone as well as pressing *6 to unmute your mic on Zoom before speaking. You've successfully joined the webcast. Our program will begin shortly. If you're presenting today and joining this meeting on Zoom, please note that all Zoom attendees are muted when entering, and you'll need to unmute yourself when it's your turn to speak. For voice-only callers, please unmute your phone as well as pressing *6 to unmute your mic on Zoom before speaking. You've successfully joined the webcast. Our program will begin shortly. If you're presenting today and joining this meeting on Zoom, please note that all Zoom attendees are muted when entering, and you'll need to unmute yourself when it's your turn to speak. For voice-only callers, please unmute your phone as well as pressing *6 to unmute your mic on Zoom before speaking. You've successfully joined the webcast. Our program will begin shortly. If you're presenting today and joining this meeting on Zoom, please note that all Zoom attendees are muted when entering, and you'll need to unmute yourself when it's your turn to speak. For voice-only callers, please unmute your phone as well as pressing *6 to unmute your mic on Zoom before speaking. You've successfully joined the webcast. Our program will begin shortly. If you're presenting today and joining this meeting on Zoom, please note that all Zoom attendees are muted when entering, and you'll need to unmute yourself when it's your turn to speak. For voice-only callers, please unmute your phone as well as pressing *6 to unmute your mic on Zoom before speaking. You've successfully joined the webcast. Our program will begin shortly. If you're presenting today and joining this meeting on Zoom, please note that all Zoom attendees are muted when entering, and you'll need to unmute yourself when it's your turn to speak. For voice-only callers, please unmute your phone as well as pressing *6 to unmute your mic on Zoom before speaking. You've successfully joined the webcast. Our program will begin shortly. If you're presenting today and joining this meeting on Zoom, please note that all Zoom attendees are muted when entering, and you'll need to unmute yourself when it's your turn to speak. For voice-only callers, please unmute your phone as well as pressing *6 to unmute your mic on Zoom before speaking. You've successfully joined the webcast. Our program will begin shortly. If you're presenting today and joining this meeting on Zoom, please note that all Zoom attendees are muted when entering, and you'll need to unmute yourself when it's your turn to speak. For voice-only callers, please unmute your phone as well as pressing *6 to unmute your mic on Zoom before speaking. You've successfully joined the webcast. Our program will begin shortly. If you're presenting today and joining this meeting on Zoom, please note that all Zoom attendees are muted when entering, and you'll need to unmute yourself when it's your turn to speak. For voice-only callers, please unmute your phone as well as pressing *6 to unmute your mic on Zoom before speaking. You've successfully joined the webcast. Our program will begin shortly. If you're presenting today and joining this meeting on Zoom, please note that all Zoom attendees are muted when entering, and you'll need to unmute yourself when it's your turn to speak. For voice-only callers, please unmute your phone as well as pressing *6 to unmute your mic on Zoom before speaking. You've successfully joined the webcast. Our program will begin shortly. If you're presenting today and joining this meeting on Zoom, please note that all Zoom attendees are muted when entering, and you'll need to unmute yourself when it's your turn to speak. For voice-only callers, please unmute your phone as well as pressing *6 to unmute your mic on Zoom before speaking. You've successfully joined the webcast. Our program will begin shortly. If you're presenting today and joining this meeting on Zoom, please note that all Zoom attendees are muted when entering, and you'll need to unmute yourself when it's your turn to speak. For voice-only callers, please unmute your phone as well as pressing *6 to unmute your mic on Zoom before speaking. You've successfully joined the webcast. Our program will begin shortly. If you're presenting today and joining this meeting on Zoom, please note that all Zoom attendees are muted when entering, and you'll need to unmute yourself when it's your turn to speak. For voice-only callers, please unmute your phone as well as pressing *6 to unmute your mic on Zoom before speaking. Thank you for attending this month's board meeting. Please take this opportunity to silence your cell phones. If you're seated at the table, please make sure that the microphone in front of you is clear of obstructions such as papers and screens, and that the green light is on. Please do not turn off your microphone during this meeting. The audio engineer will be controlling the volume of each microphone. If you're not at the table and you are called upon to speak, please wait for a microphone to be brought to you so that you're heard clearly in the room and on the webcast. Thank you. The webcast will begin in 10 seconds. You've successfully joined the webcast. Our program will begin shortly. If you're presenting today and joining this meeting on Zoom, please note that all Zoom attendees are muted when entering, and you'll need to unmute yourself when it's your turn to speak. For voice-only callers, please unmute your phone as well as pressing *6 to unmute your mic on Zoom before speaking. You've successfully joined the webcast. Our program will begin shortly. If you're presenting today and joining this meeting on Zoom, please note that all Zoom attendees are muted when entering, and you'll need to unmute yourself when it's your turn to speak. For voice-only callers, please unmute your phone as well as pressing *6 to unmute your mic on Zoom before speaking. You've successfully joined the webcast. Our program will begin shortly. If you're presenting today and joining this meeting on Zoom, please note that all Zoom attendees are muted when entering, and you'll need to unmute yourself when it's your turn to speak. For voice-only callers, please unmute your phone as well as pressing *6 to unmute your mic on Zoom before speaking. You've successfully joined the webcast. Our program will begin shortly. If you're presenting today and joining this meeting on Zoom, please note that all Zoom attendees are muted when entering, and you'll need to unmute yourself when it's your turn to speak. For voice-only callers, please unmute your phone as well as pressing *6 to unmute your mic on Zoom before speaking. You've successfully joined the webcast. Our program will begin shortly. If you're presenting today and joining this meeting on Zoom, please note that all Zoom attendees are muted when entering, and you'll need to unmute yourself when it's your turn to speak. For voice-only callers, please unmute your phone as well as pressing *6 to unmute your mic on Zoom before speaking. You've successfully joined the webcast. Our program will begin shortly. If you're presenting today and joining this meeting on Zoom, please note that all Zoom attendees are muted when entering, and you'll need to unmute yourself when it's your turn to speak. For voice-only callers, please unmute your phone as well as pressing *6 to unmute your mic on Zoom before speaking. You've successfully joined the webcast. Our program will begin shortly. If you're presenting today and joining this meeting on Zoom, please note that all Zoom attendees are muted when entering, and you'll need to unmute yourself when it's your turn to speak. For voice-only callers, please unmute your phone as well as pressing *6 to unmute your mic on Zoom before speaking. You've successfully joined the webcast. Our program will begin shortly. If you're presenting today and joining this meeting on Zoom, please note that all Zoom attendees are muted when entering, and you'll need to unmute yourself when it's your turn to speak. For voice-only callers, please unmute your phone as well as pressing *6 to unmute your mic on Zoom before speaking. You've successfully joined the webcast. Our program will begin shortly. If you're presenting today and joining this meeting on Zoom, please note that all Zoom attendees are muted when entering, and you'll need to unmute yourself when it's your turn to speak. For voice-only callers, please unmute your phone as well as pressing *6 to unmute your mic on Zoom before speaking. You've successfully joined the webcast. Our program will begin shortly. If you're presenting today and joining this meeting on Zoom, please note that all Zoom attendees are muted when entering, and you'll need to unmute yourself when it's your turn to speak. For voice-only callers, please unmute your phone as well as pressing *6 to unmute your mic on Zoom before speaking. You've successfully joined the webcast. Our program will begin shortly. If you're presenting today and joining this meeting on Zoom, please note that all Zoom attendees are muted when entering, and you'll need to unmute yourself when it's your turn to speak. For voice-only callers, please unmute your phone as well as pressing *6 to unmute your mic on Zoom before speaking. You've successfully joined the webcast. Our program will begin shortly. If you're presenting today and joining this meeting on Zoom, please note that all Zoom attendees are muted when entering, and you'll need to unmute yourself when it's your turn to speak. For voice-only callers, please unmute your phone as well as pressing *6 to unmute your mic on Zoom before speaking. You've successfully joined the webcast. Our program will begin shortly. If you're presenting today and joining this meeting on Zoom, please note that all Zoom attendees are muted when entering, and you'll need to unmute yourself when it's your turn to speak. For voice-only callers, please unmute your phone as well as pressing *6 to unmute your mic on Zoom before speaking. You've successfully joined the webcast. Our program will begin shortly. If you're presenting today and joining this meeting on Zoom, please note that all Zoom attendees are muted when entering, and you'll need to unmute yourself when it's your turn to speak. For voice-only callers, please unmute your phone as well as pressing *6 to unmute your mic on Zoom before speaking. You've successfully joined the webcast. Our program will begin shortly. If you're presenting today and joining this meeting on Zoom, please note that all Zoom attendees are muted when entering, and you'll need to unmute yourself when it's your turn to speak. For voice-only callers, please unmute your phone as well as pressing *6 to unmute your mic on Zoom before speaking.
We're going to go live in 5, 4, 3, live.
All right. Well, good morning, everybody, on this actually sort of balmy day, compared to what we've been living with. Hilda and I were just discussing, we're all experiencing a traditional Rochester Buffalo winter down here. So hopefully the next time we meet will be in spring, so that's a good sign. My name is Kevin Law, and as chair, I'm now calling to order the February 19th meeting of the Urban Development Corporation doing business as Empire State Development. And we have staff participating remotely. I'll ask them to please mute their audio until they are ready to speak. The public was given an opportunity to attend like they are every meeting, and as well as to provide comments on the agenda items. And as of this morning, we do not have any members of the public here with us, and we did not receive any public comments on any of the items on the agenda that we'll be addressing today. Of course, the directors were provided all the materials in advance of the meeting, and of course can answer and ask questions at any time. I'll now ask, do any board members have any potential or perceived conflicts of interest with any of the agenda items? Seeing none, that is good. And let's see. That allows us to go right to the agenda. And the first item on the agenda is our approval of the minutes of our last meeting on January 15th, 2026. But before I get that, and I told you I am good for at least one mistake every meeting, and Lorraine will say multiple mistakes, but I like to go around the horn to first acknowledge that we have a quorum to conduct business, and then I'll ask the senior staff to introduce themselves. And so, Hope.
Hope Knight, present CEO, ESD.
Hilda Rosario, Asher Director.
Benson Martin, DFS designee.
Lorraine Harris, Director.
Michael Rosen, Director.
And Francine, we got you live from Buffalo? All right. And so we certainly have a quorum. Rob is not able to join us today. And unfortunately, our dear friend John Long fell on the ice, broke his hand or wrist.
Yes, wrist.
And is having surgery this morning. So please keep him in your thoughts and prayers. He's a great guy and a great board member.
Be a little louder.
Oop. I'm sorry? Oop. Nope.
Oh.
All right. So now, starting with Kevin, we want the senior staff to introduce themselves.
Hey, good morning, Kevin Eunice, COO. Joe Raymond, Chief of Staff.
Arden Sagalo, EVP Real Estate.
Hi, Brad Willows, advisor to the COO.
Momentum Molde Grant.
Sylvia Coroni, Assistant Vice President, New York Ventures.
Owen Hobson, Project Associate, Real Estate.
Jackson Pacheco Block, Director, New York Ventures.
Tony D'Alessio, Deputy CFO, Controller.
Ray Orlando, Chief Financial Officer.
Tremaine Wright, Director of Compliance.
Joshua Bloodworth, General Counsel.
Ashley McCluskey, VP Special Projects and Operations.
Mike Evely, Regional Director, Capital Region Office.
Good. Welcome. Good to see you guys in person. And again, we have Francine by phone and Debbie and the team. Thanks for pulling the meeting together. So now we'll go right to the agenda. And the first item is the approval of the minutes of January 15th, 2026. I will move them. Michael seconds them. Are there any comments, questions, or revisions? Hearing none. We got a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? None. The minutes are approved. I'll now call on Hope Knight, our President and CEO, to provide her report.
Thank you, Kevin, and good morning, directors. Historically, these are very busy times at ESD, and this year is no different. Last week, Governor Hochul unveiled the Downtown Albany strategy. This is a part of her $400 million Championing Albany's Potential initiative that was first introduced in last year's State of the State. The goal of the strategy was to create a blueprint for public and private investments informed by community input and rooted in tangible goals to generate sustainable growth. ESD worked incredibly quickly and efficiently on this to meet the moment. I'd especially like to recognize Kevin Eunice, Ashley McCloskey, and Mike Evely for their efforts. Mike and Ashley will have more on this during our spotlight presentation, and then the board will be voting on several proposed programs that were developed through this planning process. Also, as a part of the CAP initiative, we've celebrated progress towards the revitalization of the New York State Museum. The initial phase includes new exhibits, a new dedicated kids zone, and the reopening of the museum's gift shop, and a visioning task force to guide future revitalization. The first of the new exhibits opened in December. It celebrates the more than 60-year history of Barbie. Future exhibits include the 200th anniversary of abolition and in New York State, and the 25th anniversary of September 11th attacks. I was also proud to participate in the ribbon cutting for the museum's cafe, which will be operated by an Albany-based coffee bar called Stacks. It's great to see tangible progress being made through great collaboration between ESD and New York State Ed. Things have been very busy at ESD, but especially during this budget season. Next week, I'll be back in Albany to testify before the legislature on the executive budget. This always lends itself to some productive conversations with the members of the Senate and the Assembly. And I look forward to the opportunity to discuss Governor Hochul's agenda. That's all I have today, and that concludes my President's report.
Great. Well, good luck. Good luck in Albany next week. And by the time we meet again in March, hopefully we'll have some idea of where the budget is heading.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you, Hope. Does anybody have any questions for Hope? No? All right. So we'll now move on to our spotlight presentation. And we have both Mike Yevely and Ashley McCloskey from our Albany office to give us our presentation. We're very happy to have you guys and learn more about the project.
Thanks, Chairman. Good morning, Directors. Thank you for having us here today. As I said, I'm Ashley McCloskey, Vice President for Special Projects and Operations, joined by Mike Yevely, our Regional Director for the Capital Region Office. And we're happy to be here today with you to give you an overview of the Championing Albany's Potential Initiative and the Downtown Albany Strategy. So in last year's budget, Governor Hochul launched the Championing Albany's Potential, the CAP initiative, which was an unprecedented $400 million investment in downtown Albany. As the capital of New York, Albany has unique assets. It's the center of a strong, growing region with a population of about 100,000 residents, and it's the seat of government, has a long history of innovation, but downtown has long faced challenges that really have been amplified by post-pandemic shifts in work and social patterns. And Albany has struggled with the same issues as many other mid-sized cities, like vacant storefronts, fragmented development, a lack of vibrancy in the city's core, which has really led to perceived public safety concerns, making it difficult to attract and retain city center businesses and residents. And downtown struggles with the need for more quality housing, jobs, and public spaces, issues that are compounded by the fact that 2/3 of the city's property are tax exempt, which has strained municipal resources. So these factors led to the launch of the CAP initiative, which is a state-led effort to support revitalization and long-term economic growth in the downtown core of Albany. A cornerstone of the initiative is the Downtown Albany Strategy. The strategy is backed by $200 million in funding and is intended to guide decision-making and coordinated action to reinvigorate the area within a 1-mile radius of the state capitol. The CAP initiative also includes funding to revitalize the New York State Museum, as Commissioner just mentioned, for reimagining the I-787 study, for improvements to the Empire State Plaza, and for public safety efforts. ESD was tasked with developing the Downtown Albany Strategy and administering the $200 million in funding. Today, Mike and I will share an overview of the strategy as well as the plans for implementation. So last May, as a reminder, this board approved a contract to select MIG, a planning and economic development firm, who joins us today, Ben Margolis and Yuri Chang from MIG, that helped lead these efforts. And over the past 9 months, we've really undertaken a comprehensive community engagement process to hear what Albany's residents, workers, business leaders, and visitors want out of downtown Albany. Last Friday, the governor unveiled the final strategy, and pending your approval this morning of program guidelines, ESD will release an open call for applications next month. This community-informed and data-driven strategy is a public roadmap that outlines where we think concentrating investments make sense, growth targets to define what we want to achieve, and the tools and partnerships we need to make it happen. The strategy articulates some of the challenges that I mentioned that downtown Albany is facing, and addresses the ways in which downtown must evolve to create an active and welcoming core, and emphasizes how investment in the downtown core can make the greatest impact on the entire city. Over the past 8 months, we've undertaken a robust community engagement process to ensure that the people that live and work in Albany had a meaningful role in the process. We heard from thousands of community members through public meetings, business interviews, focus groups, and surveys. and got a lot of great information that really helped shape the strategy, and came away from these engagements feeling the energy and excitement that the governor's investment has generated in Albany. This is just a quick outline of what's in the full strategy report. Like I said, it outlines why we're here, how the strategy was informed, where targeted investment is recommended, and how we'll get there through funding and implementation. Lastly, I'd like to just highlight the where we're headed portion, which are the growth targets. As we move into implementation, these measurable targets will allow us to track progress and ensure that the strategy stays focused over time. These targets that you see on the screen give partners a shared benchmark, help direct resources, and ensure progress is measurable. They were shaped by not only the public's input about what the community wants to see, but grounded by the existing conditions of downtown today, and also in comparison to peer cities. So number one is residential growth. That's what we've heard the most. Downtown needs significantly more residents in the core and a wider mix of housing types to reach the 24/7 activation and unlock more everyday street-level activity. And number two, job growth, adding additional jobs and diversifying them. The aim is really to have a broader mix of jobs and reasons to come downtown. Additional visitor activity, more vibrancy and increased visitation, and consistent year-round activity, not just big events. 4 through 6 focus on leverage and confidence, increasing private leverage alongside the public investment, advancing 3 catalytic sites within the next 3 years to have clear, visible momentum fast, and lastly, improving positivity safety ratings by using repeatable practical measurement over time to track visitors' impressions of Albany. I'll now turn it over to Mike, who will talk more about the where and the how.
Thank you, Ashley. So the growth targets that Ashley just defined will show us what success will look like. The investment areas that we created show where coordinated investment can produce visible, far-reaching change and the success we intend. The full mile radius represents a diverse city landscape. The strategy's focus and sequencing approach will guide us to stay disciplined so investments reinforce each other. The areas outlined on a map were identified through engagement and analysis. These are not the only places that matter, but where near-term action can create the most visible change and generate outward momentum. The strategy frames these as the highest leverage areas for early action, where CAP resources can stack housing, small business growth, public realm upgrades, and catalytic development. For each investment area, the report provides the existing conditions such as needs and assets, a clear vision statement, CAP-specific actions, and illustrations that show the vision, what the vision will look like in real locations. So let me quickly run you through these. So one, the downtown heart, really the center of the central business district. This is the engine, the fastest place to shift the day to night feel through storefront energy, public realm upgrades, housing, and office conversions. 2, Albany's new downtown neighborhoods. This is where growth has room to land, complete walkable neighborhoods that connect back to the core and the waterfront. This is where Liberty Park is, a subsection of 2. The warehouse district gateway. The centerpiece is the central warehouse area, where we are looking at this not only as just a site, but a large-scale redevelopment opportunity. 4, the South End Gateway, where we'll pair near-term street safety upgrades with cultural and housing investment to meet today's market, and then build outward over time in a smart, equitable way. 5, the International District. Build on existing vital businesses, support daily needs with safer, more comfortable streets, plazas, and improved storefronts. 6, Center Square. Protect the character while boosting livability, pedestrian comfort upgrades, lighting and wayfinding, supporting a wider mix of events and programming along the Lark Street corner. And finally, the Clinton Square Arts and Heritage area. Reinforce an arts and cultural spine with public space upgrades, reuse, and infill mixed-use development that generates foot traffic supporting the local institutions. So as I mentioned, we've developed concept plans for various types of projects throughout the investment areas. These are ambitious, thought-provoking illustrations to show what can be and are not intended to show what must be. So just a few examples. Upper left corner, that's Liberty Park, 8-acre site controlled by Capitalize Albany, supported by this agency with a $50 million grant already to gather site control and deal with some of the buildings that were on site. They're out to RFP now. So that's a vision that shows.
To be clear, today that's pretty much an empty
Right,
parking.
right.
So that's
Yeah.
a vision. So
Yeah.
in that upper left, that's largely nothing right
Yes,
now, right?
it's called the parking lot
Yeah.
district. So, yes, yep. Upper right-hand corner, that's to show some of the street treatments. So again, there's these throughout the districts. We have different examples. That's Steuben Alley down Pearl Street. It's a real connection from essentially, the state capitol to the waterfront, right through the heart of the city. Lower left corner, that's Tonic Plaza, an OGS-owned property on Pearl Street. In fact, that whole development, including the hotel, the buildings around it that are state office buildings, private owned, that was originally a UDC project going back a long way. So, it's a tired plaza, and it's in the heart, and we really want to see it activated. And the final is the central warehouse area. Again, currently, you don't see it there because there's a new building on it, but the central warehouse is undergoing a remediation and ultimate demolition, again, supported heavily by ESD. And this shows a very, very robust plan for this area for the future. And we look at it as, and by the way, the shaded 787 represents the 787 area, where DOT is currently in the final stages of selecting an option to de-densify that road, boulevard it. So we're capturing the ability to incentivize some of these projects as that massive public works project takes place in the future. So we covered the why, the what, the where. So now moving on to the how. The funding announced by the governor and adopted in the state budget has remained a focal point throughout this process. And while it certainly informed the growth strategies and concepts, we encourage stakeholders and the public to not focus exclusively on the funding. We need more, and we need to aspire beyond $200 million to be successful. Early on, we assured everyone that we would not produce a list of projects with dedicated funding, but rather aspirational ideas and effective tools to build success. Working with MIG and our policy team, we built the toolbox, the CAP Initiative funding programs, 3 funding buckets administered by ESD providing matching grants for qualified projects, $120 million dedicated to transformative projects, $40 million for housing investments, and $40 million for community and public spaces. From a project perspective, the needs covered a wide variety of uses ranging from large transformational redevelopment sites, public infrastructure improvements, addressing commercial vacancy, new housing investments, and beyond. To make the funding process seamless and user-friendly, we developed 3 distinct funding program guidelines, each with their own focus, criteria, and expected outcomes. Following this presentation, I'll be submitting the funding guidelines to the board for consideration, and we'll be able to provide more details at that time. It cannot be done with funding alone. We need to maintain the robust partnerships we developed with the city, the county, and our state agency stakeholders, and the entire community. Early outcomes and wins are a must. Local implementation, zoning, permitting, incentives are a must. Public support is a must. We have developed near, mid, and long-term goals surrounding implementation and sustainability to ensure we are coordinated and focused. ESD will lead the near-term delivery team and continue to assist local government partners into the future. So, if I could just take a moment, I want to personally thank the governor for her vision that set this all in motion. I want to thank the board not only for this opportunity to present here today, but for the dedicated support from day one. Commissioner Light, thank you for making sure we had the resources and stayed on task. And I'm doing this because this is one of the most impressive team efforts I've ever been part of. I've been doing this for 30 years. Kevin Eunice and his team, Ashley McCluskey, Brad Willows, Allie Walsh with Real Estate, Allison Kabir, Emma Wallach, Elizabeth Morrissey from Policy, my wonderful regional office team, Heidi Passos, Joe Landy, who lived up to the sign on his door that says, other duties as assigned.
What does it say?
Other duties as assigned. He dedicated much of his workload to CAP. Mary Elise Reese and our newest member, Jordan Nagelsmet, are all great at making sure we're going to be implementing this. Our consultants led by MIG, Ben, Yuri, and your teammate Jay, and the rest of the team of consultants, thank you. And so many others in Chamber and ESD. We took this on not only as a professional challenge, but personal priority to make the place we all live, work, and play the capital the people of the state of New York deserve. So thank you.
Great. Well, thank you, Mike. And Ashley, thank you. Can you put the slide back on with the 7 regions?
Yep.
I just had a couple of quick questions. And you can help me with my geography out there as well. So first of all, are all these regions within the city of Albany? Or
Yes.
So
All within the city.
All within the city.
All within a 1 mile radius of the state capital, which is the demarcation line for where we're going to be focusing our efforts. So it goes beyond these areas, but we're focusing the investments in this area to kick it off.
Got it. And did I hear, Ashley, you correctly, that the population in the city today is only 100,000?
That's correct.
Yes.
Wow.
Yep.
And how many state employees work in the city on a regular basis? Is it like 30,000, 40,000?
You know,
40,000.
this goes back a ways. I was a commissioner of development plan for the city for years, and we used a number back then of like 60,000 in computations, which isn't more than just state workers, but it's hard to say.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
But it's fair to say that most people who work in Albany, the city of Albany, live outside the city of Albany.
It's a big.
And so it's part of the strategy also to get more people living in the city.
That's right.
And thus the goal of creating 3,500 housing units.
That's right.
Do we believe the demand is there?
Yes, we do.
For the housing?
Yes, we do.
And the second area, the number 2 area, like, are we envisioning like waterfront, apartment buildings and mixed-use buildings and things like that?
Not at this time. So 787 splits that, and the rest of the property is public. So it's public park. So ultimately, when 787 comes down and we see what kind of land availability there is, there could be some new opportunities that this plan doesn't envision, because we didn't want to overstep with what is going to take place.
Most of it'll be open space, open to the public. Taking in the waterfront.
Yeah, and honestly, Chair, we want to focus on the core. I mean, we got to focus on underutilized buildings. There's I can't remember the exact number, Ben, but a lot of vacant land, parking lot district being an example.
Yeah, Kevin, the increased residency downtown is sort of the North Star of the plan, right? That is, how do we overcome the sense of people's concern about safety? It's more human beings living downtown, right? More people working downtown. And so that number 2, that we call Liberty Park, which some people call the parking lot district, it's currently largely vacant, right? And so it's this incredible opportunity to quickly, we hope to develop a mixed-use neighborhood, like to literally create a neighborhood from parking lots, right? And a shout out to our friends at MIG who, we all live there, and so they help us step back and say, this isn't something you should be, like, what do we do with, like, this is an asset. They helped us see this as an asset. We all knew there was something possible, but they really helped us see this as a unique asset in a community that's 400 years old, to have this much space for a development opportunity. They really helped us see that, and so that's kind of ground zero. That's where we are very focused. The whole thing is a focus, right? But we only have 200 million. But that is, North Star is more people living downtown. Liberty Park is sort of our best chance to do that quickly.
Got it.
Yeah, it's cool.
No, it sounds very cool. And the last question I had was the REDC up there in the Capital Region involved in the planning of this too? Because a lot of like the sequence and the process that you discussed about the engagement in the community, it sounds like that's sort of what REDCs are supposed to be doing too. So
we regularly get them up to speed at meetings, and many of them are participants. The governor kicked this off with a dinner, and it was a working dinner where we sat at tables and did, we all met, and a lot of the REDC members participated in that, and really kicked off this whole idea. Was that dinner with the key stakeholders.
Great. No, it sounds exciting. Wish you a lot of luck with it. And, it sounds like something that should happen as well. You'd like to see it, but it should happen.
Kevin, just flag one more thing. Hope talked about the museum. So as part of this 400 million, what we're talking about here is the 200 million of this mile circle. But the governor also gave ESD $150 million to work on the museum. And this team has been leading that work as well. And so we have had some great, as Hope noted, some really early wins. You know, as a person, I live 3 blocks from the museum. People feel differently when they start the Barbie exhibit. It's a minor thing, but it's energy. People are going in.
Right.
What kind of museum is it?
It's the New York State Museum.
Yeah.
So it's like constitutionally chartered to like track New York State's history and preserve things. It's a massive structure, but it's dated and it's, you know, it's got the same exhibits as it had 50 years ago. And so the governor said, we need to do something about this. As we think about this rejuvenation of Albany, the museum is a big part of it. And so she gave us
What district is that in, which one?
It's
just north of where it says Lincoln.
Yeah. Up at Lou. Yep.
Got it.
Sorry.
No, yeah,
Here.
one more over.
Down.
Yeah.
Madison.
And number 6.
Yeah, right by the plot. No, it's right there, sorry.
Yes. Third time's a charm. Third time's a charm.
What do I know?
Very neat. How about other board members or Francine? Anybody? Francine has a question?
Yeah, Kevin, thank you. 2 questions. What is a catalytic site? What does that mean?
Yep. So a large scale site that can offer opportunities for us to stack different uses to drive housing, visitation, and employment. So sites that offer more than just one opportunity. So if somebody has a site and they were just going to build a residential tower on it, we could maybe make an argument that's catalytic, but the spot we're talking about at Liberty Park, the parking lot district, that's a catalytic site. The central warehouse redevelopment area, that's a catalytic site. Lincoln Towers in the south end, which is a Albany Housing Authority owned abandoned site, right? They're looking to tear down the existing buildings and rebuild new housing opportunities there too. That's a catalytic site.
Yeah, catalytic, right, literally means making other things happen. Yeah, that's, I think, what the word comes from. And so that's what that's about. It's like we're making an investment that is making other things happen. And Liberty Park, as the example, is we start putting more people in that neighborhood, we're going to change the whole character of downtown, right? It's catalytic.
And how long did it take to put the strategy togetger? I mean, this whole how long did it take you?
Not long enough.
Not long enough.
We said 9 months, but I mean, last May,
Yeah, end of May we started.
the end of May is when the governor announced this, and that's when we selected MIG. So really, since last June, so a little less than 9 months.
Yep.
Yeah, very.
We've never had, like, I've never been involved in a project where more people came out to comment, right?
Wow.
Yeah.
700.
Yeah, 700 people at our
We
first
filled the
workshop.
convention center room.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's you.
Right?
Yeah.
Anybody else? No? All right. Well, Michael and Ashley, thanks for our presentation. Why don't you guys segue this into some board action you want us to take?
Thank you, and I'll try not to be repetitive, but
Mike, just so you don't influence the vote, do you want to get the hats out now?
by the way, the folks at Amtrak said these hats can't go back on the train, so everybody's got to take one.
Very good.
Yes.
Go ahead, Mike.
Thank you. So the directors are being asked to approve new guidelines for $200 million in capital grant funds appropriated in the current year New York State budget. The new guidelines and funding will establish the Champaign Albany's potential funding programs and will be the main tools used in the implementation of the ESD-led Downtown Albany strategy. Through this year's New York State budget, Governor Hochul launched the CAP initiative, a bold plan to invest $400 million to revitalize the core of Albany in partnership with local stakeholders. This investment includes $200 million to make real investments into tangible strategies and projects to revitalize Albany's core downtown and adjacent neighborhoods within 1 mile of the state capitol. In developing the newly released Downtown Albany strategy, we discovered the 1 mile radius covers a diversity landscape with equally diverse opportunities for meaningful projects that will need support to be realized. To address this diversity and to make the funding process seamless and as user-friendly as possible, we developed 3 distinct funding programs, each with their own focused set of criteria and expected outcomes. So let me recap each of these. Transformative Project Fund will be used to support catalytic, large-scale investments that fundamentally change how downtown Albany is experienced and reshape public perception of the city. Up to $120 million in ESD capital investment will be dedicated, and the project must have a minimum size of $5 million. Priority project types include large mixed-use developments, year-round markets or event spaces, innovation hubs, or offices bringing significant private sector employment into downtown. It focuses scarce capital on a small number of highly visible, high-impact projects that can reset downtown's trajectory. Moving on, the Housing Investment Fund increases the number of downtown residents to drive tax-based growth, street activity, and long-term economic stability. Up to $40 million in ESD funding will be dedicated, and to show you the range here, it must create at least 2 new units. So we're not just thinking big, we're thinking in the neighborhood where there's a single, in the smaller scale neighborhoods throughout here, we're gonna be able to do projects that link together some of the smaller scale things. Office to residential or mixed-use conversions, new residential mixed-use buildings, additions to existing residential mixed-use buildings are the types of projects. Housing is a fundamental demand driver. The more residents create the conditions for successful retail, services, and public space activation. Community and Public Space Investment Fund, smaller scale capital projects that activate streets, improve commercial corridors, and strengthen community anchors. Up to $40 million will be dedicated to this fund with a minimum project size of $200,000. Priority project types include commercial district enhancements, beautification and placemaking, and community acres and community and cultural anchors. And provides visible near-term wins that could complement larger housing and transformative investments. Any questions?
All right, so these are the guidelines and to help you administer everything that you just laid out for us.
Yep, very similar to many of our programs. It's going to it'll appear to the public like many of our programs. It'll use a CFA application portal. The regional office will be doing the intake and underwriting of the projects, and we'll be working through our normal internal systems of project approvals.
Great, good. All right, so we do not have any comments from the public on this. Do we have any questions from any of the directors? None. So I will move it. Lorraine seconds it. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? None. The motion carries. So Michael and Ashley, thank you very much for your presentation.
Thank you all.
And you're going to stick with us, right?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, stay with us. All right. All right. So let's move on to the regional parts of our agenda. Starting in Western New York, we have Karen Utz, our regional director. She has 2 items for us and 2 separate votes.
Thank you, Chairman. Good morning. The directors are requested to approve a grant totaling $470,000 to the Railroad Museum of the Niagara Frontier from Round 5 of the Downtown Revitalization Initiative for improvements to the museum exterior and property. The Railroad Museum is a small, not-for-profit, entirely volunteer organization that acquired the former Erie Railroad Freight Station in North Tonawanda in 1988 and opened as a museum in 2003, displaying donations of railroad memorabilia, equipment, and materials. The grant represents 100% of the total project cost, is intended to help the museum attract more annual visitors, and builds upon the city of North Tonawanda's downtown renaissance. The project was completed in May of 2025, and I'm happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Karen. Any questions? None. We don't have any comments from the public, so I will move it. Francine seconds it. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None. Motion carries.
Thank you. The directors are requested to approve a $276,000 grant to the Buffalo and Erie County Historical Society, which we refer to as the Buffalo History Museum, from Regional Council Capital Funds Round 9 to cover a portion of the costs associated with the $1,402,000 renovation project to enhance guest amenities and exhibits to meet modern guest expectations. The museum headquarters, which dates back to the 1901 Pan American Exposition, is where they care for nearly 500,000 artifacts that share the stories of the people, events, and movements that shaped Western New York. A capital investment was necessary to increase admissions revenue, school field trip visits, partner events, and rentals. The project was completed in 2024. And again, I'm happy to take any questions.
All right, thank you. Any questions? None? No comments from the public either. So I will move it. Hope seconds it. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? None. The motion carries. Thank you, Karen. Before we get to Laura, just an idea. Not looking to create any additional work for folks, but when Michael and Ashley were doing their presentation, the old saying, "A picture says 1,000 words." And I was speaking with Arden before we walked into the room together too, and it'd be cool, I think, as we're reviewing or acting on these applications and motions, have a picture on the screen of what it is, because again, so many of them really cool projects, and in the materials, unless you go through all the details of the environmental impact statements, you're not really seeing any photos. And if we could put a photo of the things that we're approving, especially like the larger projects that we'll be acting on later with Owen and Arden, I think it would be worthwhile. And plus, it's not good things, and we should be sharing it. So, just an idea. Noah, get on it.
Not to make any extra work.
Exactly. Or we start off with select projects, the ones that have visuals. Not everything has a visual. Some of our programs are more service oriented. But you guys think about it.
Yes.
All right. Okay. The chair will move on. Let's go over to the Finger Lakes with Laura Fox O'Sullivan, our regional director.
Good morning. We're asking the directors to approve a capital grant of $500,000 to 5 Chestnut Geneseo LLC from round 1 of the New York Forward Grant Program. Funds for this $1 million project will be used for a portion of design, engineering, and renovation costs for the adaptive reuse of a long-abandoned 2-story building to include 2 commercial tenant spaces and 3 second-floor, 2-bedroom market-rate apartments. This project will help attract new businesses to support local job growth and improve the area's aesthetic by renovating this long-abandoned building in the heart of Geneseo in Livingston County. The project was completed in September 2025, and we are asking the directors to approve the release of funds for this project. And before and after photos would have been great for this one. So,
Thank you, Laura.
Any questions?
Yeah. Any questions for Laura? None. We don't have any comments from the public. So I will move it. Hilda seconds it. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? None. The motion carries. Thank you, Laura.
Thank you.
Next up, Brad Willows. He's the advisor to Kevin Eunice, and he's here with us in person. Hey, Brad. Are you the guy who I hear does all the work that Kevin gets all the credit?
Takes credit for it.
I also have other duties.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We're seeking authorization for up to $30 million in grant funding to CTC Housing Central New York Fund, LLC. That's a wholly... We're good. Try again. So, how about that? Good? We are seeking authorization for up to $30 million in grant funding to CPC Housing Central New York Fund, LLC. It's a wholly owned subsidiary of Community Preservation Corporation, which is a nonprofit CDFI headquartered here in New York City, to seed a new $150 million workforce housing production fund that is aimed at meeting demand that is going to be created by Micron Technology's $100 billion semiconductor manufacturing facility project just outside of Syracuse. Immediately after the announcement of the Micron project, ESD moved to conduct a study of the project's effects on the regional housing market that found at a high level that the project would create demand for 30,000 new units of housing above current growth production, which would require at least a 3 to 4 times increase in the level of units that are being built in the region today, and that there are some significant financial and capacity-related barriers to meeting that demand over the long term. So we immediately partnered with Center State CEO to begin thinking about how to implement in this space and to start building more housing, ultimately focusing on building a public-private financing model in partnership with a group of area financial institutions and philanthropic partners, including Micron. We then selected CPC, Community Preservation Corporation, to serve as a fund administrator. ESD's investment The $30 million that we will be putting into it is leveraging $120 million in private sector investment at deeply concessionary rates from those financial institutions. It will serve both as zero-cost capital within each loan, as well as a credit enhancement in the total kind of fund balance. And at the end of the day, we will be offering mezzanine construction loans for multifamily housing projects at a 6% interest rate as compared to 14 to 16% in the market, which is going to allow many projects that are struggling to secure financing for construction today to get that financing and move forward, ultimately creating, we believe, 2,500 new housing units in the region over the first 5 years of operations. So we're very excited about this. I'm happy to take any questions.
But you said the need is for 30,000 units.
That's right. So the study identified 30,000 units of need. We believe that the market will take care of about half of that. So you can think on the higher income end, it's going to be single family detached homes, suburban development, doesn't need subsidy. There's also going to be need for affordable housing, which our partners at HCR and other state agencies focus on through low-income housing tax credit work. So there is a kind of gap that we're focused on in the middle, which is workforce housing, which is going to be for folks who are coming in and taking jobs directly at Micron or suppliers or existing residents who are taking new jobs. I would also note that this is a revolving loan fund. So the first round, we expect to create 2,500 units, but our expectation is that that will continue in the future. As funds come back in, we would then redeploy them out. So you can think about it for each 5-year period. It's 2,500 units with the 150 million, but over time that'll revolve.
Since it's a revolving loan, it hopefully facilitate the construction of more.
Yeah, and also we expect, we're getting out ahead of demand right now, but the Syracuse market is going to get stronger over time. So we would expect that as we get out ahead of things and start building units now, the market will strengthen, and ideally there would be less subsidy needed.
And the 30,000 figure unit that you threw out, that's primarily just for new Micron employees?
It's 50,000 jobs created by the Micron project. About 9,000 of those are direct. The other 40,000 are from supply chain development and related economic growth. So the housing study, which is available online on our website, happy to share it, broke it out by the type of jobs essentially and what the household composition would be, and then what kind of housing those folks would demand. So it's a mix, right? Some of the higher paid jobs would demand single families, and some would demand multifamily. So
it's exciting, and it's the housing that this fund will primarily facilitate will be workforce housing.
That's correct. Yeah.
So it'll be pretty much market rate workforce, or is it going to be at a particular median income target?
We would ask that we're saying that the loans need to adhere to whatever the affordability requirements of the jurisdiction is, wherever it lands. So, the city of Syracuse has a 10% requirement for 80 or below AMI. Loans that are in the city of Syracuse would have to adhere to that. We're not placing any other affordability restrictions.
On it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Got it. Good. All right, good. Any questions for Brad? Any others? No? We don't have any comments from the public either. So I will move it. Benson seconds it. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? None. Motion carries. Thank you, Brad. Good luck.
Thank you.
All right. Move over to the southern tier. Omar Sanders, our regional director.
We're just visiting us to support a mixed-use development.
Omar, we're struggling to hear you.
Move on to the next. Let's move on to the next.
All right. We're going to move over to the Mid-Hudson region with Linda Malabi, our regional director there, and we'll come back to Omar when the technical difficulties are corrected. Linda?
Good morning. Good morning, Chairman Law, Commissioner Knight, and directors. Hopefully you can hear me okay.
Yes.
Perfect. Wish I had a photograph for this project. It's amazing. The directors are being asked to approve 2 grants totaling $2,750,000 for the Hudson Valley Shakespeare Festival in Garrison in Putnam County. These funds, awarded through Round 11 of the Regional Council Capital Fund and Round 12 of Market New York, were used to create a year-round cultural destination. This total project cost is $39,320,000, and the organization will retain 160 employees and create an additional 14 FTEs and 55 seasonal staff. The theater is approximately 13,850 square feet, and there are approximately 450 seats. Just an FYI, Hudson Valley Shakespeare Festival had been in temporary location for over 30 years. So in 2021, a philanthropist donated 98 acres of a former Garrison Golf Club to provide the festival with its permanent home. The project is complete and disbursement of the grant is being requested now. And I'm happy to take any questions.
Well, that sounds terrific. Thank you to the benevolent landowner. And always interesting when a governmental entity with the word temporary on it lasts for 30 years. But that's great news. Does anybody have any questions for Linda? None. No comments from the public either, so I will move it. Michael seconds it. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? None. The motion carries. Thank you, Linda. Can we go back to Omar, or is Omar ready for us? All right. We'll continue to put Omar on deck, and we'll move over to Simone Bethune, our Senior Director for at the Direction of Projects.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning to everyone. As a reminder, at the Direction of grants are listed in the New York State budget and originate from the Governor, the Assembly, or the Senate. ESD is named to administer the funding and does not select recipients of funding. For items A through D, we are requesting Director's approval of the following 4 local assistance 2025-26 Alive Downtowns Awards to Shays O'Connell Preservation Guilds Limited, doing business as Shays Performing Arts Center Theater, and the Syracuse Area Landmark Theater. The awards collectively total $1,497,700 and include $267,900 from the New York State Senate and $1,229,800 from the New York State Assembly. Funding is being made in response to the financial insecurity theaters upstate experienced following the COVID-19 pandemic and will be used for their general operations. For item E, the directors will be asked to authorize a $2.5 million fiscal year 2025-26 local assistance grant to the Bedford-Stuyvesant Restoration Corporation, which is at the direction of New York State Assembly member Stephanie Zeinerman of the 56th District. The project will finance the services and operational expenses of the Bedford-Stuyvesant Restoration Corporation's programs, which include advancing affordable housing, economic development, workforce services, and cultural programs to strengthen the community. Funds will be applied to the project through December 2026. And for item F, we're asking director's approval for a $350,000 fiscal year 2024-25 local assistance grant to the Syracuse Film Center Incorporated, doing business as CNY Film Professionals, which is being made at the direction of State Assemblywoman Pamela Hunter of District 128. CNY was founded by 7 film crew members with an interest in creating a viable film production sector in the central New York region. Funds will be used through April 2027 to cover the direct cost associated with hiring a local film crew and paying industry standard wages, along with renting equipment and facilities for filming, permitting, marketing, and administrative support. And I can take any questions.
Any questions for Simone on any of these? No? We don't have any comments from the public either. So I will move it. Lorraine seconds it. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? None. The motion carries. Thanks, Simone.
Thank you.
We try and Omar one more time.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, great. I apologize. So we're asking the director to approve funds in the amount of $460,000 for the mixed development project located in downtown revitalization initiative target area of Johnson City. Project includes interior and exterior renovations of a 7,200 square foot, 2-story mixed building that will accommodate commercial and residential use. Total project cost is $1,160,600. ESD funds will be used to support a portion of the cost of construction, renovation, real estate acquisition, and asbestos testing and remediation. The grant is $345,000 in equity, and the renovation project is completed. The developer Sun Development Team LLC was selected as the project sponsor through round 6 of the Downtown Revitalization Initiative. The company has satisfied its obligations under the incentive proposal, and we are now recommending that the board approve the release of funds for this project. I'm happy to take any questions at this time. Thank you.
All right, well, thank you, Omar. Anybody have any questions for Omar? None. We don't have any comments from the public either. So I will move it. Francine seconds it. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? None. Motion carries. Thank you, Omar. Let's go back to the agenda. Michelle Clark, our VP and Director of Workforce Development.
Thank you, Chair, and good morning, Directors and Commissioner Knight. The Directors are requested to approve the release of funding to St. Nick's Alliance in the amount of $1,001,089. This working capital grant through the Office of Strategic Workforce Development will be used to facilitate 11 cohorts of green trades training for disadvantaged low-income adults. Each training track offers career awareness, credential technical training, transformational coaching, and supportive services to ensure participant success. We are recommending that the board authorize the release of funds to carry out this project. I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you, Michelle. Any questions for Michelle? None. No comments from the public either. So I will move it. Hope seconds it. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? None. Motion carries. All right. Next up, thank you, Sylvia Cadoni, who's here with us from New York Venture Capital Fund. She has 2 items for us that require 2 separate votes.
Yes, I will present one, and Jackson will present the other one.
Sure.
So thank you, and today we are asking the directors for approval to invest up to $2 million in Atomap. Atomap is a New York City-based biotech company. So the company is developing an AI and computational platform that accurately models the movement of molecules. The company uses this platform to then design new drugs, and it can be for a number of diseases. The first ones they're looking into are for cancer. Atomap is led by its founder, Huafeng Chu. He's an expert in pioneering computational models and actually created some of the models that are used today as industry standard across companies. The New York City Innovation Venture Capital Fund staff is requiring this approval for an investment of up to $2 million into a Series A for the company. The proceeds of this financing would be used for working capital and to advance the company's pipeline and AI platform. As part of the due diligence, the fund staff and the external advisory committee have evaluated the company's business plan as well as the terms of the investment. As a result of the analysis, both the staff and the committee agree that the market opportunity and the growth potential that the company offers warrants an investment from the fund, and therefore we recommend its approval. I would take now any questions.
Thank you. Any questions for Sylvia? No? We don't have any comments from the public on this either. Sounds interesting and exciting. Good luck with it. So I will move it. Hilda seconds it. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? None. The motion carries. The second item is going to be presented by Jackson Pacheco.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, Directors, and Commissioner Knight. Today, New York Ventures is asking the directors to approve the authorization of a grant to Recast Capital for up to $1,400,000. They will provide technical assistance to businesses throughout New York State through the State Small Business Credit Initiative Technical Assistance Program. The SSBCI Technical Assistance Program provides funding for eligible technical assistance providers to offer legal, accounting, and financial advisory assistance to eligible fund managers who support very small businesses by helping them navigate ESD's SSBCI equity programs. Recast Capital is a woman-owned firm that supports emerging and community venture fund managers for institutional readiness. Its work produces economic development outcomes that are aligned with New York State priorities. Happy to take any questions you may have. Thank you.
Jackson, is this your first time presented to the board?
Yes, it is.
Well, you did a great job.
Thank you.
And when did you join ESD?
May of last year.
Oh, very good. And you're working in the New York Ventures division?
Yes.
Good. They treating you well?
Of course.
All right. Very good. Well, good luck to you and good job. And so the first one, Sylvia, that was an investment that we approved. This is a grant that we're approving now.
Correct.
Correct. All right. Very good. Anybody else have any questions? Hearing none. We don't have any comments from the public either. So I will move it. Benson seconds it. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? None. The motion carries. Thank you, Jackson. Next up, Owen Hofstein, our project associate in the real estate development group with the Village of Haverstraw Chair Factory redevelopment project.
Thank you, Chair Law, Commissioner Knight, and directors. We are requesting the directors to affirm the adopted GPP as modified to authorize the various steps needed to implement the proposed Haverstraw Chair Factory redevelopment project located in the Village of Haverstraw in Rockland County, New York. Modifications include a change to the phasing of the hotel component and allowing for the scope of ESD's sale-leaseback action to be amended. All other aspects of the GPP remain the same. The proposed project is expected to facilitate the transformation of a 14.5-acre underutilized waterfront site at 30 Liberty Street in the Village of Haverstraw within Rockland County into a mixed-use development with approximately 450 residential units, including more than 300 income-restricted units between 30% and 130% AMI, as well as 5,800 square feet of commercial space, 69,000 square feet of hotel space, structured and surface parking, and public waterfront amenities and open space. The project development team includes Penrose New York LLC, an affiliate of Penrose LLC, and Impact Haverstraw LLC, an affiliate of Impact Collective. As a reminder, we brought this action to the board meeting on January 15th, 2026, during which the GPP was adopted by the directors. On January 16th, 2026, ESD filed, circulated, and posted the GPP on ESD's project website for public review and comment. ESD held a virtual public hearing on the GPP on January 26, 2026, and accepted written comments on the GPP until 8 p.m. the same day. During the public hearing and public comment period, ESD received 20 verbal and written comments from 14 unique commenters. 11 individuals voiced support for the project, while 3 expressed concerns. A summary of comments received before the close of the public comment period and ESD's detailed responses to those comments is also attached to the director's materials as Exhibit 3. Comments included concerns about the local labor and workforce development, ESD's involvement in the residential project, how ESD's action will financially impact the village and town, and concerns surrounding general capacity of the village and town. I will now provide an overview of our responses to these concerns. Local labor. Some commenters emphasize the importance of opportunities for community members to benefit from the project through the use of local labor, if the project will adhere to prevailing wage, and further opportunities for workforce development in the community. The project will contribute to the local community through the creation of construction and permanent jobs and through the addition of commercial uses. As of January 2026, the project is anticipated to provide approximately 1,863 full-time equivalent construction-related job years, with 995 direct local FTE job years directly associated with the project, and 868 indirect FTE job years from business spending resulting from direct activities, as well as approximately 15 direct permanent jobs at the project site. For the portions of the project that are subject to prevailing wage requirements pursuant to the New York State labor law, prevailing wage is expected to be paid. In addition, the developer will endeavor to retain workers from the local community through subcontractor hiring, local outreach, and relationships with local community organizations. Now, on to ESD involvement, governance, and financial structure. Some commenters express concerns and questions about the nature of ESD's involvement in the development and concerns about perceived lack of clarity around the financial and governance structure surrounding ESD's action. As authorized in ESD's GPP on January 15, 2026, to alleviate the residential portions of the project of real property tax obligations of non-participating taxing jurisdictions, ESD is sponsoring the proposed project as a land use improvement project in accordance with the UDC Act. At the project closing, ESD and the developer will complete a sale and leaseback transaction with respect to the parcels that are intended to be used for housing, in which ESD will acquire fee title to these residential parcels from the developer for a nominal purchase price and net ground lease the residential parcels back to the developer or its designee for a nominal rental price to facilitate the real estate property tax exemption for the project. Fiscal impacts. Some commenters expressed concerns regarding how the development will impact the obligations of local municipalities to provide services and the tax burden on the residents, and how the project itself will be paid for. Though ESD's action will result in the residential parcels being tax exempt, the developer will be required under the ground lease to make all payments negotiated with the jurisdictions participating in the pilot agreement. The agreement will include a schedule of payments in lieu of property taxes to the county, the village, and the school district for a 20-year period, subject to future extensions if agreed upon by the parties. Traffic, parking, and sewage capacity. Some commenters expressed concerns around traffic, parking, emergency services, and sewerage capacity. Potential impacts and mitigation measures were all studied in the final Environmental Impact Statement, or the FEIS, and supplemental reviews for the project, through which it was determined that ESD's actions would not result in significant adverse impacts not previously identified and addressed in the FEIS. After considering all public comments, ESD staff continues to recommend that the directors approve the proposed project. The project would transform an underutilized waterfront site into a vibrant mixed-use development, delivering sustainable, market-rate, and income-restricted housing opportunities and community amenities to the village of Haverstraw. For all of these reasons, and those set forth in the director's materials, it is requested that the directors affirm the general project plan as modified and authorize all related actions. I'm happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Alan. You presented this to us at the last time. Right?
Yes.
Good. Well, you did another good job. Thank you. Now this would be a perfect example of my idea, where we show a picture of what it looks like today and what it's going to look like with the drawings, and because it sounds like an exciting project.
I have just the picture too. I should have brought it.
I'm sorry?
I have just the picture too. I should have brought it.
Well, show me next time. That's good. I had just one question for you. So out of the 450 units, you said 300 of them would be affordable?
Income restricted.
Income restricted. Got it. And that's based on ESD's requirements or the local IDA's requirements, or a combination?
Based on the HCR's requirements. But
HCR. Oh.
HCR is providing financing. The units are between 30% and 130% AMI. A significant portion of those are funded through HCR's new construction program term sheet, while the units at some of the higher AMIs are funded through a mandatory inclusionary housing program.
Are there low-income housing tax credits involved too?
Yes.
Got it. Very good. And anybody else have any other questions, Rowan? No. We don't have any comments. We don't have any comments to ESD. You addressed the comments that you got on the FEIS, so thank you for that. So I will move it. Michael seconds it. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? None. The motion carries. Thank you, Owen. And now we're going to go to the administrative actions. And we have Doug Janice on the phone. Well, we should have Doug Janice on the phone.
Can you hear me, Mr. Chairman?
Yes, much better than last month.
All right.
All right.
So thank you, Chairman Law, and good morning, directors. As a reminder, in order to help streamline your meetings, we implemented this oral summary presentation process in connection with the administrative action items of your agenda. So you receive a full set of the written descriptive materials for each of these items in your board materials. But rather than having individual oral presentations, I'm going to provide you with a brief summary of the items, and then at the end, we can entertain any questions or comments that you might have. The 8 February administrative action items are summarized as follows. Item 7A is relative to authorizing statutory payments pursuant to the New York State Electric Generation Facility Cessation Mitigation Program. And the board is requested to authorize 2 payments pursuant to this program. The first is to the Lansing Central School District in the amount of $115,708 due to the closure of the Cayuga Electric Generating Facility in November of 2019. And the second is to the Barker Central School District in the amount of $1,311,196 due to the closure of the Somerset Electric Generating Facility in March of 2020. These payments will offset reductions in property tax revenues to these local government entities as a result of the closures. Approval of these payments will bring the total disbursements from the fund to approximately 115.5 of the $140 million authorized for the program, leaving a fund balance of approximately 17.5%. Item 7B is relative to approval of a land bank application for Washington County. The directors are requested to approve a land bank application submitted by Washington County. A land bank is a not-for-profit corporation created by local governments to assist with the issue of vacant, abandoned, and tax delinquent properties. Under the statutory requirements of the land bank program, formal ESD approval is required before the land bank can be formed. Following review of the application submission, staff has determined that Washington County has presented a strong case the land bank will be successful in the community and recommends its approval. Items 7C and 7D are relative to authorization to enter into contracts for site planning and consulting services and for public engagement consulting services for the Aqueduct redevelopment project. On behalf of the Franchise Oversight Board, ESD is anticipated to serve as the master developer for the redevelopment of approximately 100 acres of the Aqueduct racetrack, a role that includes the coordination of specialized consultants to ensure successful revitalization. Following separate competitive solicitations for site planning services and public engagement services, staff is recommending the retention of the following 2 vendors to assist with the project. For site planning services, staff is requesting authorization to enter into a contract with Beyer Blinder Bell Architects and Planners LLP for an amount not to exceed $741,550. And for public engagement consultant services, staff is requesting authorization to enter into a contract with Public Works Partners LLC for an amount not to exceed $370,150. Item 7E is relative to authorization to enter into a contract amendment for environmental legal services related to the Atlantic Yards Land Use Improvement Project. The directors are requested to authorize a 2-year contract extension with Brian K. Leighton Paisner LLP in an amount not to exceed $500,000 to continue providing critical environmental legal services in connection with the Atlantic Yards Land Use Improvement Project. As this project transitions into its second phase, the firm's specialized expertise is essential for navigating the required creation of a second supplemental environmental impact statement for the proposed modifications to phase 2 of the project. This extension is fully funded through a developer-backed IMPREST account and would maintain continuity with a firm that has successfully counseled the corporation on this project since its inception. Item F is related to authorization to enter into a contract amendment with Microsoft for the corporation's Unified Support Plan. The directors are requested to approve a contract amendment with Microsoft to renew the corporation's Unified Support Plan for an additional 3-year term. This renewal, for an amount not to exceed $508,317.67, which includes a contingency of $101,662.93, will bring the total contract value to $620,089.67. This consolidated service model provides ESD with streamlined enterprise-wide support for all Microsoft products under a single agreement, encompassing essential base support as well as integrated add-ons and enhanced solutions tailored to meet the agency's unique and evolving technology requirements. Item 7G is relative to authorization to enter into a contract amendment with Bull Tech Services for HVAC maintenance for the corporation's New York City office. Directors are requested to approve a contract amendment with Bull Tech Services LLC to provide supplemental funding for HVAC maintenance at 655 3rd Avenue. Following the relocation of ESD offices in 2024, the initial estimates for HVAC requirements have been refined to reflect the actual higher than anticipated level of effort required to maintain the office environment. This amendment ensures that critical infrastructure, specifically in the IT server rooms and the boardroom, remain properly serviced and operational through the conclusion of the contract term in May of 2027. And the additional amount for these services shall not exceed $53,330.18. And finally, item 7H is relative to authorization to amend a memorandum of understanding with the State University of New York at Buffalo for planning and policy support services. The directors are requested to authorize a final disbursement of $116,858 to the State University of New York at Buffalo pursuant to a 2021 agreement for planning and policy support services. These services, provided by the University at Buffalo Regional Institute, have been instrumental in advancing the strategic initiatives of the ESD Western New York office. This requested funding represents the final obligation under the contract, and upon successful issuance of this payment, this agreement will be formally concluded and closed. With that, I will now turn it back to our chair, who will call for any questions or comments you may have on any of these items before calling for a vote. And we also have item-related staff on the line today as well to take any questions. Thank you.
Thanks, Doug. Two quick questions. On item D and E, does the Franchise Oversight Board, do they own Aqueduct, and ESD will just be handling the procurement, for a developer for that site?
Essentially, yes.
That's a yes?
Yes.
All right. Arden just said yes, Doug.
She's correct.
Okay. Thanks for the confirmation. And the second question for item G, I thought OGS handled things like HVAC for various state departments, or because we are an authority, we have to do it on our own.
Well, because we're renting, we're not in an OGS building.
But I thought OGS even facilitates like the leases and stuff like that. They don't deal with things like HVAC. We have to deal with it ourselves.
Yes, we've managed this whole process ourselves.
Got it.
Yes.
Sometimes that's good.
Yeah.
Right. Got it. All right. Those are my questions. Do any other board members have any questions? All right. We're allowed to approve all of these in one motion. We don't have any comments from the public, so I will move them. Francine will second it. And all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None. The motion carries. Thank you, Doug. That concludes our official business. Does any board member have any other business they'd like to raise at this time? All right, not hearing any. To think warm, and before we meet again, think what's coming up over the next week. We got spring training, we got St. Patty's Day, and we got March Madness. All those cool things, good things happening. And our next meeting will be March 26th here at 9:30. And so I'll move to adjourn. Hilda seconds it. All in favor? Aye. We are adjourned. Thank you, staff, very much. All right.